Aaron, roll tide. It's good to see you. How's everything going now being on this side of football camp?
Man, could not be more thrilled. It's football time. You can feel it in the air. Fans are getting excited, and the calendar's turned to August, so it's not too far away before we start seeing some live football.
That really is exciting. And of course, it's always kind of an unofficial kickoff to the year when Alabama appears at SEC Media Days. This past year, that was in Nashville 2 weeks ago. Just what were some of your takeaways from what either Coach Saban said or some of the players we got to talk to, like Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and J.C. Latham?
I think the big message is Alabama sort of taking this a little personal. The fact that they're not the talk of SEC Media Days this year, and it should be Georgia. Georgia's a back-to-back defending national champions, the first time that's been accomplished since Alabama did it. So Georgia's sort of the top dog, pardon the pun. But you could tell from J.C. Latham that his comments specifically about wanting to get back to Alabama dominating in the trenches. I think that will define this season for Alabama, how successful they are in that endeavor. And I think that's sort of what they want to be known as this year, is being a physical football team that teams don't want to play for 4 quarters. That's what Nick Saban built this program on when he came in 2007. It's what they thrived on. And I think, when they got really heavily this run of quarterbacks they had, not that they got away from it, but they were a more high-flying offense. I think this team is more geared toward that throwback style, and I think that's the style they want to play. And that's the message I sort of took away from SEC Media Days.
And then in between, a lot of fans were excited for your interview that was on Yea Alabama with Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator. It's not often we get to talk to coordinators in the media, whether inside or out. So just what a great opportunity for you to get to visit with one of the newest members of Coach Saban's staff. What'd you learn from your conversation with him?
Yeah, that he's young. First off, he's very young. But two, that he doesn't seem, this role doesn't seem too big for him. I had the occasion to sort of shadow him at 8A and watching how he interacted with his offense and his quarterbacks that day. It didn't look like the lights were too big. Now, that was a spring practice, but he certainly understands the opportunity he has in front of him. And I think any coach that's worth their salt does one thing well. You can always be known as this type of coach or that type of coach. The best coaches adapt to their personnel. And it goes back to what we were just talking about at SEC Media Days. Alabama's personnel this year on the hoof, we haven't seen them play it, but on the hoof, it looks like it's going to be a big physical offensive line with a stable full of running backs, quarterback competition that's yet to be decided, and some wide receivers that know they need to improve their game. So that would lead me to think that this will be a run-first offense and play action off of that. And I think that's the impression I got with offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. Now, he certainly didn't give me any inside secrets. That's just me sort of speculating, looking at the roster on its whole. But I think he knows that, and I think we'll see what sort of offensive coordinator he is and how he builds his offense around what they have this year.
As fall camp starts, obviously the quarterback competition is on the minds of all Alabama fans, and it will be leading right up to game week against Middle Tennessee. Coach Saban had the great analogy about waiting for the cake to come out of the oven, but how should fans kind of proceed with patience and not taking anything too seriously? We may learn over the next few weeks about the competition.
I think they only need to look at the past. I mentioned that recent run of quarterbacks they have. Alabama's, if things stay today on August 1st, if things stay on NFL's opening weekend the way they are on August 4th, Alabama's probably going to have 4 starters in the NFL on opening day, which is remarkable. So that just shows you the quality of that position in the recent past. But you don't have to go back too far. The first year of the college football playoff, there was a competition battle between Blake Sims and Jake Coker. There was a competition between Jalen Hurts and Blake Barnett. So we've seen some of these competitions play out before where there wasn't the incumbent starter returning. There wasn't a clear-cut starter. And Alabama's had really successful seasons. 2014, as I just mentioned, Alabama was the #1 seed in the college football playoff. So the nature of the position is you're going to get a ton of credit. You're going to get a ton of blame. And that's the spotlight's going to shine the brightest on the quarterback position, right? But we just have to let this thing play out. And I do anticipate some spicy press conferences from Nick Saban this fall, because I think that's going to be on the mind of everyone. I think he knows that, and I think he's going to try to take some attention away from it. So I would not be surprised to see a Nick Saban rant coming up in the future. But you just got to let it play out. These are 3 high-quality quarterbacks that are going to be competing with each other, and it's going to be, I think, the winner of that competition will be the person who takes care of the football, number one, and then it keeps the offense in manageable down and distances.
What's the most intriguing position battle on the defensive side of the ball heading into camp?
Oh, man, that's a good one. I'm really looking at safety and in linebacker. We kind of know what Alabama's going to be at outside linebacker. You got Dallas Turner, you got Chris Braswell, and you got some talented players there in that rotation. But what you have outside. I think inside linebacker, you start looking at Deontay Lawson. Is he going to call the defense? The departures they had, Henry To'o is gone. So I do think the inside linebacker is really intriguing to me. And then at safety, where does the freshman phenom Caleb Downs come into play? You got Malachi Moore. Is he going to play safety this year? So Earl Little Jr. There's some talented guys they have there. So I think safety is one that's got to play out, and inside linebacker. Those are positions that I'll be watching the most.
How do you feel like Dallas Turner will do this season without having Will Anderson on the other side of the line?
I think he knows it's a big season for him, that he's going to be draft eligible. Not that, and that's really all the motivation that he needs. He's not. You hate to say he's been in the shadow a little bit, but Will Anderson did sort of hog the lion's share of attention, rightfully so, because Will Anderson's one of the greatest to ever wear the crimson and white. But Dallas Turner's a really good player in his own respect, and I think now that he's going to be, but along with that, Roger comes along. He's going to be now the guy that teams try to take away. So I think he's really going to rely on Christopher Braswell to help him out on the other end. But I think it's going to be a really good season for Dallas. You look at him just looking at his frame, he's naturally built to play that position. I think it's going to be a big season for Dallas.
Well, we're certainly excited that preseason camp is starting this week, and especially on Saturday, a lot of excitement to get back inside Bryant-Denny Stadium for what will be Fan Day. Fans able to come to the scrimmage at 2:30, but also to get autographs. It's presented by Yea Alabama, and you need to be a member of Yea Alabama to have the opportunity to interact with Crimson Tide players. Just what can you tell us about everything that's planned coming up this Saturday?
Yeah, really glad that Fan Day has returned the first time since 2019. Obviously, took some hiatus with COVID, and didn't after that. They didn't bring it back. But want to be clear, the Fan Day is absolutely open to everyone who wants to attend. The autograph session is just for Yea Alabama subscribers, and I think of it this way: in the land of NIL, they own their. Before they weren't allowed to capitalize on that. Now they can go to the mall on a Saturday and they can charge whatever they want for an autograph. This is a way to get all the autographs that you want for members of Yea Alabama. So it was only right to do by the players if you're asking them to do that when they could capitalize on their own. So a good opportunity. If you don't want to take advantage of that, certainly come and watch the open part of Fan Day. But we certainly hope that you would consider a subscription to Yea Alabama. It's the future, helps ensure the future of Alabama athletics, and people have been great so far. And we're excited to see the players and Coach Saban. It's not the running of the Gumps anymore, Roger, but it's always fun to watch little kids get an autograph of these players that they sort of idolize.
At least it still will be the hottest day of the year, probably. That is a tradition, doesn't go away, right?
Exactly. You can't escape that.
That's certainly good. Well, that's exciting, again, for Yea Alabama subscribers to have that opportunity. We mentioned the exclusive interview you had with Tommy Reese that debuted a week ago. As we get ready for football season to start, what else can Yea Alabama subscribers look forward to from some of your coverage of the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, so all summer long, we've been doing what we call a half-hour huddle, where we grab a student athlete at the University of Alabama, let our subscribers ask questions of them. We go live. And we sort of screen the questions, make sure we protect the student athletes, that some rival fan can't get in there and disrupt the interview. But it's an opportunity for subscribers to ask anything they want of the student athletes, and for them to showcase their personalities beyond the competition field, right? To potential brands that may want to endorse them, or simply just for fans to get to know them a little better. And we've had a lot of fun with that, a lot of success with that. A lot of Q&As we're going to be doing with student athletes. We're going to try to document fall camp as much as we can. Personality wise, speakers coming and stuff like that, stuff that's going on in fall camp. We won't be breaking any news on the Alabama quarterback competition, unfortunately. I think Coach Davis is going to keep that close to his chest, but stuff like that is what we really want to focus on. Is we want to highlight our student athletes and what great people they are on and off the floor, and we've had a good job, had a good time rather, of doing that so far.
Absolutely. We look forward to that. And Aaron, we look forward to catching up with you all throughout football season. This certainly will be an intriguing one, and we're glad you're on the Yea Alabama side, covering all things Crimson Tide. Just thank you so much for joining us. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Roger.